Hi everybody, Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, and this week's contract tip has to do with labels and license types. And as you know, there are many labels that a real estate agent may use, or that the public refers to the person that practices the profession of real estate. Those labels are anything from real estate agent, real estate professional, real estate salesperson, broker, associate broker, real estate consultant, many labels that you will hear, realtor. There are many labels that you will hear applied to a person that practices real estate. So I wanted to go over those a little bit and what they mean, and more specifically, how those interact with, or how those relate to the type of real estate license that an individual may hold. So basically, to be able to practice real estate in any state, it is a state regulated profession, meaning that in order to get a license to practice real estate, there is some specific state requirements that are typically outlined in that state's license law. So in Georgia, in the license law, it's actually license law, it's under the GREC Rule 520-1-.04 is where the law is outlined for obtaining a license, and 520-1-.05 is where the law is outlined for maintaining a license. And those GREC rules also do refer to the actual official Georgia Code annotated laws that have to do with trades and professions. So take a look at those if you are interested. But basically in Georgia, to get a real estate salesperson's license, there are several requirements. You must pass a background check. You must be age 18 or older. You must have a high school diploma or the equivalent. And then you must take a course specifically designed for the real estate profession. The real estate, and in this situation, it's called the Real Estate Pre-License Salesperson's Course. Now, and that is for your pre-license, that is a 75-hour course, and after you, or the equivalent. The Real Estate Commission will look at the equivalent for if you have taken real estate courses in college and so forth and so on. There are equivalents to the actual salesperson course that various real estate schools offer. Again, that's all outlined in the law, so feel free to take a look at that. After an agent gets their real estate license, so basically you have to go to school, you have to take the course or the equivalent, you have to pass the school test. After you pass the school test, you go to the AMP Center and you have to pass a state test to get your real estate license. After you have your real estate license, then there's an additional education requirement. Within your first year, you have to take the post-license course education requirement, and that is an additional 25-hour course. Now, with a salesperson's license, then you find a broker and you hang your license with a broker. With a salesperson's license, you may not practice real estate as a sole practitioner, as a single agent. You must hang your license with a broker. And that broker we use the term broker interchangeably. It refers to an actual real estate firm or company, as well as an actual person that has a broker's license that is the qualifying or a registered broker of that firm. So with a salesperson's license, you must hang your license with a broker, or you may maintain an inactive license and your license is still held with the Real Estate Commission, but you can't interact with the public or practice real estate. So in order to practice real estate, interact with the public, you must have an active license held by a brokerage, a firm with a qualifying broker. And in that situation, you can interact with the public, you can complete forms, complete documents, so forth and so on, perform the duties of a real estate agent, and it is all under the supervision and in the name of the broker. Now, to get a broker's license, In the state of Georgia, you must be at least age 21 or older. Same thing, you still have to go through a background check. You must have practiced real estate actively. You must have had an active real estate salesperson's license for 3 of the previous 5 years. Then you have to go to school and you have to take broker pre-license course. And that is a 60-hour course, broker pre-license course, 60-hour course. And again, the Real Estate Commission here, GREC, does recognize the equivalent to that course, whether it be through college courses or through law school courses. So if you are a lawyer or have been in law school, some of that coursework you might get credited for the coursework for the broker pre-license coursework. So then you go through school, same thing, pass the school test, and then you are eligible to sit for the state test to get your broker's license. Once you have a broker's license, well, let me tell you something too. Also, there are some veterans preference points that you can get on the state test, and all of that information, if you are a veteran, thank you very much for protecting us. We greatly appreciate your service to us personally and to our country. But if you are a veteran and you are interested in getting a real estate broker's license, there are some veterans preference points. Those are outlined in the license law in GREC Rule 520-1-.04, subparagraph or chapter 3. Anyway, with a broker's license, in essence, what you're allowed to do is you are allowed to work alone, or you are allowed to have agents working under you, under your license, so to speak. Now, that's the basic definition of what it is. Obviously, you can't just have a broker's license and go hire agents and have them work under you. There are still requirements with the Real Estate Commission in terms of opening up a firm and all of those requirements. So I'm not saying that you can just go practice real estate sole practitioner with a broker's license and hire people. Again, there are specific GREC requirements, but that is what that license type allows you to do. So the other thing you can do, well, another differentiation is with a salesperson's license, you may only have your license with one broker. You can only one broker can hold your salesperson's license. With a broker's license, you have much more flexibility what you can do with that license. You can be the qualifying broker of your own firm that is registered with GREC, and you may also have your license as an associate broker with another firm. So a broker's license, again, gives you more flexibility regarding the number of places where you can have your license. So you can be qualifying broker of 2 firms and an associate broker of a 3rd firm if you wish. But basically and you're thinking, well, gosh, that sounds really strange. I could be with a broker's license, you can be many firms have an active company and then what's called a holding company or a referral company. And they are still actively licensed firms registered with the Real Estate Commission with a qualifying broker. And one firm is for licensees who want to maintain an active license, but who don't really want to interact with the public. They are more interacting with people that they want to help with their real estate needs, but then they refer that business to another agent. You can only get paid for real estate services if you hold an active license and if that active license is held by a broker. So that's why many firms have a holding company or referral company so that you can get paid a referral fee. So you can have, with a broker's license, you can have a qualifying broker that is the same broker for the holding company as well as the same broker for the active company, where the agents in that company do interact on an active basis with the public for their real estate needs. The other thing you can do with a broker's license is you can be qualifying broker of your own firm and an associate broker with another firm. And you're thinking, how could that ever be? That's really strange too. Well, that happens a lot in a case where an active brokerage firm does not allow in their policy for the practice of property management. Many firms in our area do not allow their agents to practice property management. So with a broker's license, if property management is something, for example, that interests you, there are many other scenarios. This is just one prevalent scenario to help make sense of this. You can open up your own firm, and again, you have to go through the Real Estate Commission for all of those requirements. And then, so you would be the qualifying broker of your own firm that practices property management, so to speak. And then you can be an associate broker with another firm where you practice residential real estate resales. And in that situation, both brokers need to be aware. So you're an associate broker with another firm with another broker that's the qualifying broker. Both brokers need to be aware of your license being with two separate firms. They have to give their written approval of that. And typically the independent contractor agreement that you sign with both firms must be amended to specifically describe the interaction of your real estate services and the types of services you provide with respect to each firm. So that's just an example of some of the flexibility you have with a broker's license. Now, let me just define the terms a little bit. Again, if you hold a salesperson's license, you may use the term real estate agent, real estate professional, real estate salesperson, consultant. We see all types of terms like that. That typically refers to someone that holds a real estate, a salesperson's license, where their license is held with only one broker. If you have a broker's license and your license is with a firm and you are not the qualifying broker of that firm, then you are an associate broker of that firm. So even though you hold a broker's license, if you are with a firm that you are not the registered broker of that firm, then you are an associate broker with that firm, and that really should be the title that you use or the label that you use when referring to yourself in the public as associate broker. Yes, the license type is a broker's license type, but you are an associate broker. If an agent is an associate broker with a firm, then you still have to remember that it is still the qualifying broker of the firm or the registered broker with the Real Estate Commission, which would be the qualifying broker. That's the term we use, is the qualifying broker of the firm that holds the licenses for all the agents in the firm, regardless of their license type. So an associate broker with a firm still must defer to the qualifying broker if there are any issues that come up, because a qualifying broker is still the qualifying broker registered with that firm. It's just that the associate broker has that license type, and basically what that means is that person does have more training, does have more education, and does have definitely those, because they've had to get that specific training and education for that license type. But there can be a salesperson that has many hours of continuing education, because we all, regardless if you are hold a salesperson's license or a broker's license in Georgia, you still have to have 36 hours of continuing education credit every 4-year renewal period, and 3 of those 36 hours must be on the specific topic of license law. So the continuing education requirements are the same, but there was much more training and education that you had to go through to get that broker's license type. But as far as responsibilities within a firm, it is the qualifying broker that is registered with the Real Estate Commission as the broker of that firm. So if you're interacting with someone and they have an associate broker's license, but they're an associate broker with a firm, obviously, hopefully everyone can work things out professionally. But if there are any issues, you would want to have your qualifying broker speak with their qualifying broker to manage any issues. So be a little bit cautious of in any of your literature or email signatures or anything like that if you say you are the broker, because in Georgia the broker typically refers to the actual qualifying broker, the registered broker with the Real Estate Commission of that firm. If you hold a broker's license and you're with that firm, then you are an associate broker with that firm, and your information should reflect that you are an associate broker so as to not be misleading to the public, which is a license law violation. The term realtor, what that means, that applies to anyone that holds a real estate license, whether it be a salesperson's license or a broker's license, if that person is also a member of the National Association of Realtors. Hi, Gidget. Hi, Gidget. Hi, puppy. If you belong to the National Association of Realtors, then you may use the term realtor. That term is a copyrighted term, copyrighted by the National Association of Realtors. And what that means is not only do you hold a license, a real estate license pursuant to whatever state you have your license in, but you also belong to the National Association of Realtors, and you have agreed to uphold that association's standard of practice as well as to that association's code of ethics. So that is what a realtor is. A lot of times the public uses the term realtor to describe someone practicing the real estate profession. But the term realtor is very specific, and in order to belong to the National Association of Realtors, you must belong to a local board of realtors. And when you belong to a local board of realtors, part of your dues goes to the state level, which would be the Georgia Association of Realtors, or GAR or GAR, as well as to the National Association of Realtors, which is NAR or NAR. And so if you do belong to NAR, you may use the copyrighted term realtor, and again, you are held to the association, the local board, the state board, and the national board. You are held to their standards of practice as well as the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics. In addition to the state, to GREC's license laws and rules. So everybody, regardless if you belong to a board or not, everyone is licensed through the state regulatory body, which is the Georgia Real Estate Commission, and that is the government body that actually, the state body that regulates your license, regardless if you choose to belong to a board or not. So we're all licensed, all agents are licensed through the same entity and have the same requirements, continuing education requirements, and licensing requirements to get that license through the Real Estate Commission. So I hope that describes a little bit more about the license types and the labels. Oh, one more thing. If you have a salesperson's license and you go through the testing process, the school process, the education process, the testing process, and you do change your license type from a salesperson's license to a broker's license, a couple things to keep in mind. If you're going to remain inactive and just change your license type, you just do that, and GREC holds your license as inactive. If you are, when you change license type, just when you get a salesperson's license as well as when you change license types and get a broker's license, you will need a signed sponsoring broker form signed by the qualifying broker of the firm to which you want to associate. So even if you're already affiliated with that firm with your salesperson's license and you go get your broker's license, your broker is going to have to sign the sponsoring broker form to affiliate you with that firm under your new license type. And the other thing to keep in mind is if you switch license type, all of your continuing education credit starts back over at 0. So you might want to contact the Real Estate Commission and just verify all of your real estate credits for your continuing education credit, and time that license appropriately, because anything that, if you, depending on when your renewal period is, again, your license type, all the CE credit that you had gotten as a salesperson is attached to your salesperson's license, Once you have a broker's license, it's a new license type, and the CE credit starts back over. So hope this was informative for you. If you have any additional questions, please go to the Georgia Real Estate Commission's website. They have a ton of information there. You can also look up the license law regarding obtaining a license and maintaining a license. And it is fully described regarding which license type, salesperson or broker's license. And for information regarding the National Association of Realtors and becoming a realtor, you can go to the National Association of Realtors website, the Georgia Association of Realtors website, and you can look up the local real estate board or real estate association in your area. One caveat of that too, an agent, if the broker of a firm belongs to a local board of realtors, then every agent in that firm must also belong to that same local board of realtors. If the qualifying broker of a firm does not belong to a local board of realtors, then none of the agents in that firm are allowed to join a board of realtors. So that is something to take into consideration. Make sure you know what local board, if any, that your qualifying broker does belong to. And in certain situations where the company has multiple offices throughout Metro Atlanta, the qualifying broker of a firm may belong to more than one local association. So the qualifying broker of a firm would typically have one local association, that's their primary association, and then that broker has a secondary membership to several other local boards of realtors or local association of realtors throughout the area, so that an agent that is still affiliated with that firm and that one broker does hold their license but that agent practices in another area, can join that local association of realtors, there's NAMI, in that area. So a lot of information. If you need any more specifics, feel free to sit down and make an appointment with your broker. But again, websites, Georgia Real Estate Commission, National Association of Realtors, Georgia Association of Realtors, and your local Association of Realtors. Whew, thank you. So that turned into a little bit longer than I was expecting, but thank you so much for watching. I hope it was informative. And I'm Dana Sparks, qualifying broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, satisfying your needs with service, innovation, and education. Oh, one more thing. There can also be a managing broker of a firm also. The qualifying broker or registered broker is the one that is actually registered with the Real Estate Commission, but many companies do have a managing broker as well that also holds a broker's license. Their broker's license they would still be technically an associate broker of that firm, but they can use the title managing broker because they actually manage the typically the day-to-day business of that company. So, okay, now I think we're done. Thanks again for watching.